Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is According to Plan. And oh boy, I have some good news for you. If you are involved in any kind of business matter or health issue or something that has to do with your investments or your long-term security, and you have a plan or a goal in mind, this is when you can really make progress on that. And so this is a time when planning ahead, which you may have already done, is really going to pay off. And that is because there are 6 planets in the Earth signs all trining each other. Remember, last week there were only 5, but now, oh boy, plans for the future, for the business of life, and getting that underway are really well favored right now. And that is because Venus is in Virgo, and Virgo rules the traditional 6th house of work and health and banking and accounting and details and facts. And it rules the whole central nervous system, and it is trining Uranus in Taurus. And Taurus is a fixed financial sign, ruling how you make your money, what you spend it on, and your investments. Those 2 planets in Earth signs are trining a powerhouse group of planets in Capricorn, because now there are 4 planets in Capricorn. And Capricorn does rule big business and big government and the management in them and the policies connected with them, but it also rules your career, and it rules your long-term security, such as a pension plan or a retirement plan. So those can be going well right now too, or at least your plans for them can. And that is because the moon today, and Jupiter, and Pluto, and Saturn, the ruler of the sign, are all in Capricorn. Those 4 planets are just really accentuating the business of life. And that can be for people at a very high level who are capable of making decisions, long-term decisions about our and their security and prosperity. So this has something to do with very long-term plans that can really be according to plan right now, because the grand trine of 6 planets in Earth signs is so powerful right now. And so there still can be a few wrinkles along the way, or some complications, because after all, there are still planets that are in the cardinal signs. But now we just have Mars, which is in Leo, and it's retrograde, or a little bit weaker, and it is being squared by all 4 planets in Capricorn. So I would say that it is being overwhelmed right now. And so if you know of someone who is sort of arrogant and aggressive and, wants to sort of exert their power and simply be somewhat jealous or vindictive or have their own way, and who has contempt for the law as well, because remember, Mars in Aries is opposing the sign of Libra, which rules the law and peace and partnership. Despite people like that, the overwhelming influence of the 4 planets in Capricorn are really going to initiate change. It will not be quick change. It's going to be the kind of change that is very well thought out by people who have a lot of experience at succeeding in the past. And so it's the lessons of yesterday, those lessons that were successful, that we could apply to our future right now and probably really have something work out. So if you are going to solve some workplace problems, or you are wanting to attend to your health and maybe improve it a little bit, or you want to redo your investments, or you're planning for your long-term retirement, then you have a lot of things to consider, but boy, you're going to have a lot of help with that too. So if you have a question about any of these concerns, be sure and ask somebody who is a little bit more experienced or has been through it before, and just see what they have to say. There's nothing wrong with asking for advice from other people who've been successful. They could maybe help mentor you or guide you in one way or another. Because the planets in the earth sign simply mean that there are a lot of people that want to get on with the business of life. And they are going to do it. And they are going to do it despite any jealous, vindictive perpetrators who have no respect for the law and simply want to have their own way. That's not going to work anymore. And so now that the planets have changed, there's going to be a sort of a subtle shift that we have to be aware of. And it's so subtle that it may not dawn on you that it's happening, but it's actually going to start tomorrow. And that is when the sun is moving into Scorpio, and it will immediately conjunct Mercury, which is also in Scorpio. And at the same time, a little bit later in the day, the moon will change out of Capricorn and it will move into Aquarius. Then the lights will be squaring each other. The sun and Mercury in Scorpio will be squaring the moon in Aquarius. And that's 3 planets in fixed sign, but there's a 4th one, that Uranus in Taurus. It's magnificently supported because it's in an earth sign. But when the sun and Mercury in Scorpio begin to oppose Uranus in Taurus, and they are both fixed financial signs, that is a suggestion that people are going to dig in their attitudes about finances. In other words, if the bills are due, somebody could be saying, hey, now's the time to pay this. Or if there is some sort of financial problem that needs to be straightened out, boy, you'd better really try to do that. Because at the same time, the moon in Aquarius will be squaring Uranus in Taurus, and it will be squaring the sun and Mercury in Scorpio. And the moon will be opposing the sign of Leo. So with 4 planets starting tomorrow in the fixed signs, all squaring and opposing each other, I would say that the fight is on. And that fight is going to be about money. And the question may be, who is going to pay for what? I mean, there could be a lot of controversy about that. Or it could be, the question could be coming up about secrets behind the scenes and who already paid somebody for something. That could be coming out as well. So there will be financial news that could make people sort of dig in. The fixed signs don't budge. And so that could indicate a stubborn attitude about money or bills or investments or about the future in one way or another. And that's all going to be starting tomorrow. But still, the 6 planets in the earth signs mean that something is really going to occur according to plan now. And that plan is backed by very solid people who are experienced and who have respect for each other and who really want the best for everyone. So we have that to look forward to. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, I think that, you could be sort of the Lone Ranger right now, Aries, because there are so many good planets in the earth signs, and the bulk of them are in Capricorn because there's 4 of them in Capricorn. So that means that the moon and Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn are all squaring Mars in your sign, which is retrograde right now and is not being supported by any other planets in fire signs because there aren't any. And so this is a time when I think you may experience some sort of override. In other words, somebody maybe higher than you, say in upper management, or who heads a government agency and is making a new policy, they may decide to restructure something that has to do with your career or your retirement plan even, because both of those things are ruled by Capricorn, and it would not be to your liking, Aries. And so it would be something that is very long range. So you need to sit down and think about changing course a little bit. And that is because you would not want to jeopardize your future security in any way, or you would not want to jeopardize your career or your retirement. But I would say that you need to consider other options right now. And remember, if you retire from one thing, that doesn't mean you could stop work. It means you could just go out and do something else instead and enjoy the retirement. So it's not all bad news, Aries. But I do think that you know, you really have to make some adjustments in your future plans right now. And either you are proactive and choose to do that, or it's going to get done for you anyway. And that may not leave you with too many choices. So I would look around right now if I were you. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, you couldn't have a better time than right now to just make sure that something goes according to plan. And I think it will, Taurus, for you. It could be something in the healthcare field, or it could involve your diet or your nutrition, or it could involve your long-term security like your retirement or pension plan, or it could involve your investments. But I think it's really going to work out well and involve the business of life. In other words, it might involve some sort of higher path that you take right now. Or it can be that some of your long-range plans are culminating now. I mean, something's coming to fruition, and you are going to need to decide, okay, what's the next thing I do? Whatever happens, this is a time, it's an optimal time for you to move forward, Taurus. It's just perfect timing for that, so you ought to do that. It's just be real careful of anything that involves an exchange of money, and you're going to have to really watch that carefully. Make sure all the things are in the right columns and that they all add up correctly. So double check your figures. But congratulations, I think you can move forward successfully right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. This is a time when the emphasis with 6 planets and earth signs is really on business. And it can be business that has a long-range plan to it. In other words, something that pays off down the road. It could pay off right now, but it could also pay off down the road because of the four planets in Capricorn. So you have to make sure, Gemini, that you are not willing to fall for a short-term deal, which is what your sign actually rules. It rules part-time or temporary efforts. But this isn't the time to fall back on that, Gemini. This is the time to realize, with so many planets in the strong earth signs, that you need to get real serious about a long-term plan. And you may need a partner. You may need help with that. This is a perfect time to ask for help, because if I were you, I would go to somebody that's already been through it, somebody with a lot of experience that can advise you, or who may decide to sort of help you along. I mean, one person can't do it all, Gemini. Not if you want to stick around for a while. And I think that you need to begin to make long-term plans. And if you already have some, this is the time to carry them out. Take the next step, Gemini, and make it a serious one. You won't regret it. It's perfect timing for that. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when I think that you do benefit from learning a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. And the reason why, Cancer, is that starting tomorrow, the Sun and Mercury will be in Scorpio, and they will be trining your Sun, Cancer. But a retrograde Neptune in Pisces is also trining your Sun. You're going to learn some secrets because they're going to come out. And when they do, that question about, okay, who paid for what is going to be answered. And we can all have the truth out in the open, and then we can decide what to do about that. With the 4 planets in Capricorn opposing your Sun sign, Cancer, that is the moon, your own ruler, in harsh aspect to your Sun sign, along with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. I would say that there are going to be some long-term decisions made by high-ranking personnel in large corporations or government agencies, and whatever they decide will not please you. And that is because they are sort of taking a turn, maybe going in a little different direction, because they have very long-term goals and plans for success. in mind. And so they are not willing to consider individual choices right now. They're thinking of the group, or they're thinking of the plan, and they're going to go according to plan, Cancer. In other words, you cannot buck the system right now. And so what you should do instead, I think, is withdraw a little bit and just decide what you want to do right now. And, you know, this is still a very good time to tackle financial or workplace problems. And you can do that quietly by yourself. You can sort of analyze things and, you know, get things together, because everybody can succeed according to their plan. And the problem is, Cancer, you need to have a plan. You need to think about down the road right now, not what's happening tomorrow, but, you know, where are you going to be in 10 years? And how do you get there? That's what you need to think about and plan for if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when I think you have to be very careful, particularly starting tomorrow. And the reason why is that now we're going to be seeing 4 planets in the fixed signs, which are going to be squaring and opposing each other. Well, yours is a fixed sign, Leo. That means that the moon is going to move into Aquarius, the sign of the future, but it will be opposing your sun sign. That means somebody else is going to want to go in their own direction and follow their own future, and it may not be with you. So you need to sort of consider that. It might be a child or a friend who just wants to move on. At the same time, you can be beset by some sort of financial matter, and that is because, and it would be the change in it, the fluctuation of it, because the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio are going to be squaring your Sun, and Uranus in Taurus is going to be squaring your Sun. And so I would say you need to prepare for some sort of financial pullback. But if you prepare for it, then something can still go according to plan, Leo, as long as you are able to sit back and maybe rearrange your finances in some way. So you'll have all of that to look forward to. I'm just saying, be very careful. This is not a very good time to be spending a lot of money. And that is because there could be a change in someone else's future, and that could impact your future as well. So you should be cautious. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, 6 planets in the Earth signs, and Venus is in your sign, with all 4 planets in Capricorn trining that Venus. You have got a tremendous amount of backup right now, Virgo, and it is from people who respect you, and they themselves are very respectable, and they can be sort of for management, or they can be in, they can hold high places in government or in corporations or in the community, and they like you very much, Virgo. You may be asked to join a prestigious organization or a well-respected organization, or you may get some sort of career promotion. That would be great, because people like the fact that you are very careful with your facts and details. That's what Virgo rules anyway, and so they can rely on you. Your sign also rules finishing, and so they can rely on you to follow through and finish things, and that is bankable, Virgo. People can bank on that. And so I wouldn't be surprised if things were going according to plan right now, and that you will benefit from that. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, there aren't any planets in your sign right now, but the Sun and Mercury are in Scorpio right ahead of your Sun sign, and now they are beginning to set up some sort of resistance because the planets are building up in the fixed signs, and you need to be aware of that because Scorpio is a financial sign, and it's the one right ahead of yours. And so there can be some news about a financial matter, and what it is that the money could sort of go up and down, and you need to address that in one way or another, not in a quick way, but in a real thoughtful way. And that's because Uranus and Taurus will be opposing Mercury and the Sun in Scorpio. So it could even be somebody else's money. Scorpio rules other people's money, or money coming in from any other source. There could be a source of money that you have enjoyed coming in, and there could be a problem coming up with that. And so you, Libra, you need to be a little bit careful about that. Don't spend what you don't have in your hand. And don't trust it till it gets in your hand right now, Libra. Because the moon is also going to move into Aquarius. That will trine your sun. And so you may have an idea of something you want to do in the future. I would say plan it out carefully. And if your planning stage is done, then go ahead and take 1 or 2 steps toward that. That's probably going to work according to plan. Just be real careful that you've got all the money that you think you're going to have before you proceed. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when if you have any debt at all, you are going to have to pay that off first, Scorpio. And the reason why is that the tension is in the financial signs. It's not just your sign with the Sun and Mercury conjuncting each other, but they're opposing Uranus and Taurus. And Taurus rules investments. And so there can be some investments that are sort of going up and down quite suddenly. So that means that the value of them could change. So you need to really watch that. And then the moon in Aquarius will be squaring the sun in your sign. And that can lead to indecision and confusion. And so you may not come up with a solid answer of what you want to do. And you could say, well, I've planned something out and it should go according to plan right now. Well, I agree with that too, but it's the value of something you have to check. Is the value the same in what you want to do? Because it might change, Scorpio, and you need to check that, because if it does change, particularly if the value goes down, you would want to reconsider your plan because it might not be such a good investment anymore. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, yes, Mars in Aries is still trining your sun, but it's retrograde and it doesn't have any support. So it's in a tough spot. It is being overwhelmed right now, not just challenged, but completely overwhelmed. And so that means that there is some new beginning that may have sounded rather exciting to you, Sagittarius, and I don't think it's going to get off the ground right now. Either there are legal problems with it, or there can be some financial problems with it, or it can be that the right people are just not in the right place for it to go to the next step in the plan. That could be true. Maybe the personnel isn't right to really handle something. And so, Sagittarius, you have to look around right now and be much more selective. And you too have got to check any money that is coming in behind the scenes in your life from any other source, because that source might change or even dry up right now. So you need to be, I wouldn't spend a lot of money right now, Sagittarius. That may not be a good idea. Just hold on to it instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. 4 planets in your sign. Oh, it doesn't get better than that. The moon is in your sign, and so is Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, your own ruler. The fact that Saturn and the moon are both there means that parents are agreeing about long-term plans. And also people in authority are agreeing that we have to get on with the business of life. Because, you know, you got to put food on the table. And it doesn't come from handouts, it comes from working. And we all know what we want best for ourselves and our family. And so this is a time when you need to be real practical about what is important to you. And one thing that's very important to a Capricorn is respect. And so you would want to do something where you are respected for your efforts. Well, then hang around people who are very respectable, and you will be, Capricorn. And that is certainly possible right now. You could get an award, or you could actually be nominated to join some prestigious organization or get a prestigious appointment of some sort. That would be merit-based. You would have earned that. So I think you have a little brighter future ahead of you, Capricorn, than you realize right now. So you should sort of try to get out and socialize a little bit, but with people that you respect quite a bit, because they would be your type. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Aquarius. Yours is the sign of the future, and the moon is coming into your sign tomorrow. And so that simply means there's going to be a lot of light on you, Aquarius, and that's good. But it can also lead to indecision or confusion because The moon in your sign will then be squaring the sun and Mercury in Scorpio, and it will be squaring Uranus in Taurus. And that means, Aquarius, that you probably are going to be having to face some sort of financial problem. It doesn't have to be a bad problem, but it can be something that you have to work with, or it can have something to do with scheduling. But I think it has something to do with either your investments or some sort of money that you were expecting to come into you. Maybe you better check your source again, make sure that money is there, Aquarius. Or it can have something to do with credit, debt, loans, or taxes as well. Whatever it is, it's going to lead to indecision at the moment. I'm not so sure you're going to come up with an answer to something right now. But those 4 planets in Capricorn are right behind your sun sign, and they emphasize that things are going according to plan. So if you have had, or you are associated with anyone that has had a long-term plan, it could be reaching fruition now, and you would more or less have to deal with that. And it could be very beneficial for you to pay attention to that behind the scenes, Aquarius. Something that's been around a long time, but maybe it's sort of ready to develop according to plan. And you may be the beneficiary of that. That would be very good for you. So congratulations. All right, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, Neptune is retrograde in your sign right now, but as of tomorrow, it will be trining the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio. Well, Mercury's retrograde. It's going to stay retrograde for the rest of the month. And Neptune is retrograde in your sign, but the Sun is there lighting up that Mercury, and that simply means that the secrets are going to come out. And you know, Pisces, in one way or another, you're connected to some secret. And it's either something that you have not wanted anybody to know about, or it can be that you know something about someone else and they have not divulged that to you, but that secret comes out and then you are enlightened in one way or another. That could happen, which would be good. So I think that you are due for a little enlightenment or education. Let me just say that, Pisces. But whatever you learn, it's going to do you a lot of good. And the reason why is that the emphasis is on getting on with the business of life. These 6 planets and earth signs, that's what they mean. And so it may ground you a little bit and make you much more practical about what your future plans are. And that's good. So I don't see anything wrong with sort of learning the truth now, or even telling someone else the truth right now, because if you get it out in the open and you deal with it, you'll be better off for that. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.